Liam Payne was an English musician who was best known as a member of the popular boy band One Direction between 2010 and 2016. The band, which was constructed of 5 prominent X Factor contestants by the television program's hosts, was a global sensation that left its mark on musical history. Along with the band, Payne made and sold numerous hits. With the immense success, he struggled with addiction and mental struggles during his life, ending in a tragic premature demise at the age of 31 in October 2024. Liam Payne, before his eventful career, was born 3 weeks prematurely on August 29, 1993, in Wolverhampton, England. His father was Jeff Payne, who professionally worked as a person who plans, assembles, and installs equipment for many different types of manufacturing and mining projects. Jeff had reportedly worked at an aerospace company at one point. Liam's mother was Karen Payne, who worked as a nurse to newborns and infants. Liam Payne had 2 older sisters named Ruth and Nicola. His family had maintained a positive relationship with him until his sudden death. Correlated to his premature birth, Payne had suffered from kidney issues that left him with only 1 functioning kidney. His other non-functional kidney had suffered scarring, according to Payne himself. Payne would have frequent medical tests and visits to the hospital until he was about 4 years old. His dysfunctional scarred kidney caused significant pain for a young Liam, and he had to receive 32 intravenous painkiller injections during the day as a young child. According to a 2012 Twitter post from Payne's official Twitter account, his dysfunctional kidney was now functioning after medical personnel conducted an ultrasound on him. Liam himself attests in an interview with the British publication The Telegraph in 2017 that when he was growing up that he didn't have much due to his father having financial issues, but that his childhood was still a relatively great experience. Payne would face adversarial bullying from his classmates while in school. In response to these challenges, Payne took up multiple sports, including physical sports such as boxing. He had begun training in boxing at the age of 12 in order for him to learn how to properly defend himself. Sustaining multiple injuries in his boxing training, his confidence and resilience grew. Payne admitted that he recreationally would engage in skateboarding during his childhood. Payne also notably participated in competitive cross-country running while in school. He had once dreamed of becoming an Olympic runner, running for 5 miles in the morning frequently as practice. For his secondary schooling, Payne attended St. Peter's Collegiate Academy in Wolverhampton. He was a member of the Wolverhampton and Bilston Athletics Club in allegiance with his participation in cross-country. For 3 years during his schooling, he was among the top 3 in the 1500-meter performance in cross-country in the entirety of England. His singing capabilities came from a very young age when Payne was still in primary school. Payne cited Chris Brown, Michael Jackson, Justin Timberlake, Oasis, and Robbie Williams as notable musical influences on him. Payne would reportedly sing performative karaoke in front of his loved ones and pub patrons. Payne has stated that the first song he performed live was R. Kelly's hit song, I Believe I Can Fly, when he was 7 years old. He began devoting his attention to practicing and refining his singing skills more after not receiving prosperous opportunities with competitive running. He also had contemplated doing an apprenticeship doing industry work as a potential plan to follow in his father's footsteps constructing aircraft parts. Payne stated about the situation, "At that time it was always a choice between running or singing, but I just missed out on a place in the England team. I didn't enjoy the running as much as my singing, and that really made my mind up for me." Despite his interest more geared towards music, he was described as initially shy to pursue singing as a career choice. With the push of ambition by Nicola and Ruth Payne, Liam at the age of 12 joined Pink Productions, which was a performance arts group based in his native Wolverhampton. With Pink Productions, Payne was able to make a name for himself by performing in front of strangers. Payne had gained confidence with this experience, and he decided that he could audition for the famous British musical competition television program called X Factor. He would perform his first audition at the age of 14 in 2008 so he could get on the 5th season of the program. Payne stated in 2018 that he borrowed a pair of jeans from a friend to wear at the audition. Payne sang a rendition of the hit song Fly Me to the Moon that was famously covered by singer Frank Sinatra. Observing him was judges Simon Cowell, Cheryl Cole, and Louis Walsh. He gained the approval of the three judges, albeit Cowell's initial criticism where he said that Payne was missing 20%. On his first run on X Factor, he failed to proceed on from the boot camp segment of the program, to thereby be rescued by Simon Cowell to be brought to his Barbados home where Cowell ultimately cut him. Cowell's rationale behind cutting Payne was that Liam was not ready yet due to his age. He advised Payne to return in approximately 2 years' time.
And Liam feels luckier than most to be here, having initially been given a no at boot camp.
It's bad news. How did you feel with that whole boot camp scenario? Well, I felt rotten, I did. I felt really bad.
Payne did just this in 2010, auditioning for X Factor once again for the program's 7th season at the age of 17. By now, he was studying music technology at the City of Wolverhampton College and living in Wolverhampton's suburban village of Bushbury. Before this ultimately successful second run at singing fame, Payne revealed in a 2020 interview on Jordan Stevens' podcast Killing It that he would be publicly ridiculed for being a quote, X Factor reject, unquote. For his second time auditioning, he performed a rendition of the Michael Bublé song Cry Me a River. This performance by Payne was applauded by both Cowell and Judge Natalie Imbruglia, with Louis Walsh comparing Payne to pop sensation Justin Bieber. Cheryl Cole stated to Payne, "You've definitely got it. Whatever it is, you have got it." He received a yes from all 4 judges in this audition. Payne would receive a salary of £30 a day for his time on X Factor. Payne was favored early by audiences to win the competition, though by the time a group stage competition came along, Payne was nearly dropped. He was saved by Judge Nicole Scherzinger, who was a musician who was the lead singer of the musical group the Pussycat Dolls. Scherzinger was soon a key orchestrator in the creation of One Direction, a group constructed in July 2010 by her and other X Factor judges. It consisted of 5 X Factor contestants, including Payne. The 4 other members that were chosen for this boy band were Harry Styles, Zayn Malik, Louis Tomlinson, and Niall Horan, who were all considered being sent home before the formation of the group. Scherzinger, when constructing the group, had touted that Payne could possibly be the lead vocalist of the manufactured group, though Simon Cowell had concerns that Payne had a sense of arrogance among them. Cowell was reported to have asked the 5 new band members if they needed some time to rethink their commitment to the group. Payne was reported to have been one of the members who took the opportunity to contemplate his decision to stay in the group, calling his father. His father, Jeff, convinced him by reportedly saying to his son, "It's better to have 1 out of 5 of something, instead of 100% of nothing." The band was intricately formed to have the most optimal appeal towards preteen and adolescent girls. Scherzinger stated that when planning the idea for the group, "The little girls are gonna love them." The first impressions Payne had was disbelief in the sustainability of the band due to Niall being from Ireland. Payne said that he and the other members measured their heights in comparison to each other. They made the debut together on X Factor singing the 2008 Coldplay song Viva La Vida. In this first performance, Payne was observed to come out and sing lead during the song. Together, the 5 young singers developed a unique bond with one another. In the final competition on X Factor against other constructed musical acts, they ultimately finished in 3rd place behind Matt Cardle and Rebecca Ferguson. This shortcoming would not hinder the massive future success of One Direction. The quintet would promptly sign with the music label Psycho that Simon Cowell founded and was owned by Sony Music Entertainment after their run on X Factor. The exponential potential in the group was seen quite early. Along with his band members, Liam Payne would release One Direction's first album in 2011 titled Up All Night. The album featured 13 tracks, though one in particular would generate spontaneous worldwide success. This single was What Makes You Beautiful, which had generated noticeable appeal across the Atlantic. It was written by Savan Kotecha, Rami Yacob, and Carl Falk. The single peaked at number 4 in the Billboard Hot 100 charts, and at number 1 in the British and Irish musical rankings. The single was deemed the fastest-selling single of 2011. The single also reportedly broke a record for most sold pre-order sales in Sony's history. Payne with his bandmates generated a special charismatic innocence with the catchy bubblegum teen pop that resonated with many young audiences. All of the members including Liam had their own respective social media accounts, which served as a significant medium for building the accumulation of passionate fans and star appeal. The group had their first on-the-road venue performance at Watford Coliseum in December 2011. The band, particularly Niall Horan, looked down at the debut performance. Their Up All Night album, upon its official release in the US in March 2012, peaked at number 1 on the Billboard Top 200 charts upon its release. The debut album was previously released to major success in Ireland and the United Kingdom in November of 2011. The band signed a deal to work under Columbia Records in November 2011, in an attempt to establish more appeal in the United States. During the time of the album's release in the United States, Payne had begun a romantic relationship with Danielle Pisa, a professional dancer who developed a connection with Payne when she performed for One Direction while the group were X Factor contestants. Pisa also has a resume performing alongside other notable musical acts such as Jessie J, The Saturdays, and JLS, to name a few. By the end of January 2012, One Direction was projected to have 20 different concerts in the United Kingdom alone. They made their live debut in the United States as an opening act of fellow boy band Big Time Rush at Rosemont Theatre in Rosemont, Illinois, on February 28, 2012. Their popularity spontaneously grew greatly as they continued to tour around the world in various countries like the United States, Australia, New Zealand, Mexico, Canada, Ireland, and the United Kingdom in 2012. The quintet even performed at the closing ceremony for the 2012 Olympics in London, performing What Makes You Beautiful on a moving vehicle at Olympic Stadium. Critics had credited the proactive and experienced music executives behind One Direction's handling, a successful social media campaign, merchandising, and pure intuition as reasons behind their rapid rise in popularity. Some of their merchandising in their tenure would include posters, dolls, figurines, cardboard cutouts, keychains, shirts, and even their own perfume and makeup. One Direction members did something rare by frequently interacting with fans at meet and greet in person and online, which grew the passion and intrigue of their fans more. The group was considered in their heyday to be the front of the boy bands of the current generation. At the 2012 Brit Awards on February 21, 2012, Payne with One Direction won the award for the Best British Single. At the 2012 Teen Choice Awards, One Direction won 3 awards: the Choice Summer Music Star Group Award, the Choice Music Breakout Group Award, and the Choice Love Song Award for What Makes You Beautiful. They made their first appearance at the Teen Choice Awards the year prior when they performed Music Live. The band would also make multiple appearances on Nickelodeon programs in the early 2010s, notably appearing on the Nickelodeon sitcom iCarly in April 2012. In September 2012, Danielle Pisa and Liam Payne had ended their romantic relationship between each other, with Payne revealing their breakup in an interview with the magazine 17. Distance between the two due to Payne's touring with the group was cited as a contributing cause of the breakup. Also, during 2012, they released their second album, titled Take Me Home. The November-released album was also a notable success for the group. A Billboard critic in a review had assessed that there was not a single dud in the album's 13-track arsenal. This same critic had stated that around half of the album's songs had the potential as being single releases. Liam and the other members were praised to have developed more lyrical maturity in their vocal delivery. The album's lead single was a song titled Live While We're Young, which was a popular song among fans. In the United States, the single established a record for the largest sales in the opening week for a musical act that was not of American origin. The single was released on the 1st of October in 2012, selling approximately 341,000 copies in the first week of its release. The corresponding music video for the song had accumulated around 8.2 million views on YouTube on the first day of its upload. According to Payne, this was one of his favorite songs to perform live. The popularity of Payne and his bandmates would continue and grow, with him and the bandmates being followed often by paparazzi and adoring fans. At concerts, some fans would reportedly toss their cell phones onto the stage in an attempt to receive a selfie. At the end of 2012, their 2 albums would be ranked in the top 10 of the best-selling albums in the entire world, ahead of Justin Bieber, a preceding teen pop sensation that members of One Direction were compared to on occasion. In popularity, critics and fans more often viewed Zayn, Harry, or Niall as popular favorites compared to Liam and Louis, as evident by numerous polls and opinions published. It was reported that out of all the members, Liam took the longest to find his niche in the band. He was stated to have eventually found his role in the group as the responsible one of them. Payne claimed that he found more maturity and responsibility than others due to spending more time with his father and being determined on his career. Payne would recall in interviews after the band's tenure that their manager would call Payne to settle down the group if they were engaging in heinous behavior in their hotel rooms. Payne once said in his own words, "That was always my job to be like Mr. Debbie Downer." Payne has also admitted that in his time with One Direction as a younger man, he was uptight. When speaking to Glamour UK in a 2021 interview, Payne repeated the same sentiment when asked if he would give any advice to his younger self, stating, "I think just have more fun and relax a little bit." At the 2012 MTV Video Music Awards, One Direction performed a song from their Take Me Home album, titled, "One Thing." Liam was described by Rolling Stone journalist Tim Chan in a 2022 article to have been pitch perfect in the performance. The group had taken home 3 awards at the ceremony as well. These awards included the awards for Best New Artist, Best Pop Video, and Best Shareworthy Video for their What Makes You Beautiful music video. One Direction's performance at the VMAs would be the sole occasion the band would perform at the awards show. In February 2013, One Direction would begin their Take Me Home tour, which would last until the fall of 2013. The tour ultimately was a huge success, being the second highest priced tour on average ticket prices according to Forbes, only being placed behind the Rolling Stones with their 50th anniversary tour. The same month, the group released a cover single of the songs One Way or Another by Blondie, and Teenage Kicks by the band The Undertones. This was done as part of a charity fundraiser for Comic Relief, a British charity organisation active since the 1980s. Since it was a charity song, 100% of royalties from the song were removed from One Direction and Sony Music Entertainment and paid forward. The covers were popular, peaking at number 1 in the iTunes rankings across 63 different countries, including the UK, Mexico, the United States, and Canada. The song was reportedly able to raise around £850,000 for Comic Relief. Payne had conducted an interview with Love Pop magazine in February 2013, in which Payne expressed his desire for continued unity and fun between him and his bandmates. Payne reportedly stated, "I don't want us to lose the fun we have on stage. I don't want us to fall out or have a situation where the band doesn't want to be together anymore." At the 2013 ceremony for the annual Brit Awards held in the same February, One Direction, who was in attendance, won an award. The award they won was the newly introduced Global Success Award, to which they were the first musical act to receive this award. They were also nominated for the British Group Award, to which they lost to the band Mumford & Sons. Originating from the ceremony, Payne had a feud with musician Boy George that began online when Boy George alleged that Payne had refused to take a picture with Boy George and his niece, who he brought as a guest. Payne refuted by stating that Boy George did not refer to him by his name and didn't actually request to take a photo with him. Liam also asserted that Boy George merely asked him where he could find Niall. One Direction would win multiple awards at the 2013 annual ceremony for the Teen Choice Awards, held on August 11, 2013, in Universal City, California. They would win the Choice Summer Tour Award, Choice Group Award, the Choice Single for Live While We're Young, and the Choice Love Song Award for the song Little Things. In 2013, the band would have a documentary concert film released about them. It was created by Morgan Spurlock, the same filmmaker behind the creation of the infamous 2004 documentary about unhealthy diets and McDonald's titled Super Size Me. It was released on August 30, 2013. The 90-minute documentary film displays One Direction's concert performances, the relationships the band members have established with the devoted fans, each one of their respective upbringings, and their preparation for a tour around the world. In the documentary, the parents of each One Direction member, including Liam, are interviewed regarding their famous kin. Liam's parents, in particular, expressed how much they missed their son, with Karen Payne stating, "We miss him. He left home my little boy and became the boy in a magazine." To combat their son's absence, the Paynes had purchased a life-size cardboard cutout of Liam to have in their household. Payne himself has stated that he has a difficult time viewing the film due to him mutually missing his family. The documentary film took home $17 million in ticket sales in the United States alone in the opening weekend of its release, dethroning the Lee Daniels-directed film, The Butler, in American ticket sales. The film had amassed a worldwide box office total of over $68 million against a budget of $10 million, meaning they had a net gain of $58 million. Days prior to the release of the documentary film, the band agreed to do an interview on the ABC News program Nightline. They spoke backstage in the dressing room before their attendance at that year's MTV Video Music Awards. At the 2013 annual awards ceremony, One Direction took home the Song of the Summer Award for Best Song Ever, their one and only nomination for this ceremony. They faced competition from other artists such as Miley Cyrus and Robin Thicke with their respective pop hits that summer. While accepting their award, the group received some jeers from the crowd, to which they did not let faze them. Fellow popular musician Lady Gaga, who was also in attendance that night, had given words of encouragement to One Direction. In the Nightline interview that was given with journalist Cynthia McFadden, members of the group talk about the dynamics of fame and their upcoming Midnight Memories album. Liam Payne was quoted stating in the interview when discussing the close relationship he has with his bandmates, "We literally are the best of friends. We hang out with each other 24/7, and we have a good time." He displayed to McFadden a tattoo on his arm, which details some lyrics in a song from their upcoming album. Payne also noticeably had gotten a tattoo of chevron patterns, which some have interpreted as either arrows pointing in a single direction or as motor chevrons on a motorway. It was revealed in the interview that Payne and his other bandmates beside Niall were trying to learn how to competently play an instrument. Horan, at the time, was the only member who was significantly skilled at playing an instrument, a guitar. In September 2013, it was announced that One Direction would be releasing their third studio album titled Midnight Memories worldwide on November 25, 2013. The album was made available for pre-order on September 9, 2013. The album was confirmed to contain their single, titled Best Song Ever, which was previously released on July 22, 2013. The single had debuted at the number 2 spot on the Billboard Hot 100 charts, proving to be a successful song on its own. Within 24 hours of the music video for the song being released, it garnered about 12 million views. It was made known prior to the release of Midnight Memories that the members of One Direction became much more involved in the songwriting portion in their song's production, being credited as songwriters for over half the tracks of the upcoming album. Reports were released in early September 2013 that Payne's London flat worth £2 million had caught on fire after the residence's patio heater had exploded. Payne, who was not near the explosion and was unharmed, was reported to have saved his friend, Andy Samuels, who was caught on fire. Samuels was right in front of the heater since he was setting it aflame when it combusted onto Samuels. Payne was deemed a hero for then promptly fanning the flames and dousing Samuels with water to extinguish the fire. Samuels still ended up suffering some burns to his arms, legs, and chest. An ambulance and team of firefighters arrived at the scene to provide emergency response. It took 35 firefighters to put out the fire on Payne's patio, which left it destroyed by the time the entire fire was extinguished. On November 22, 2013, Payne conducted a solo interview with journalist Jason Kennedy of E! News, where he discussed himself and his bandmates, as well as his feelings amid their break after a lengthy tour. Kennedy had asked Payne an assortment of questions to get a glimpse of a more introspective take on Payne and his bandmates. When asked who in the group works out the most, Payne stated that it was himself in his opinion. He also stated that he believed that it was himself that spent the most time grooming their hair when asked who spent the most amount of time doing said activity. Upon the release of Midnight Memories, it was also a success, debuting at number 1 on the Billboard 200 charts, selling about 546,000 in the first week of its release. This marked the third consecutive album by the group to debut at number 1 on the Billboard charts behind the previous 2 albums, which all debuted at the number 1 spot. This was the first group to achieve such a feat since the Monkees in 1967. One Direction sold 4 million copies of the album in 5 weeks, which gave them the honor of having the best-selling album worldwide. 3 days after the global release of the Midnight Memories album, Payne would have an exhibition wrestling match with professional wrestler Kurt Angle as part of One D-Day, which was a live-streamed event where One Direction played games, revealed behind-the-scenes access of their productions, viewed an X Factor performance, and participated in a 50th anniversary party in celebration of Doctor Who's date of its debut. The exhibit match was reported to be a wrestling lesson by Angle to Payne, who admitted that participating in professional wrestling was a childhood dream of his. For the match, Payne wore a turquoise and gold bodysuit. Payne had ended up, surprisingly, defeating Angle by bringing him to the mat floor. In early December 2013, members of the band took a brief break by taking part in recreational soccer at Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey, which serves as the home arena for the New York Red Bulls, a professional soccer club in Major League Soccer. The One Direction members all donned their own personalized Red Bull jerseys. Andy Roxburgh, a sporting director for the club, hosted One Direction's presence. The band was spending time in the area prior to a December 7th appearance as the accompanying musical guest with guest host Paul Rudd on the New York City-based late-night sketch comedy program Saturday Night Live. This would be the second of 3 appearances by band as Muscle guest, with their first appearance coming on April 7, 2012, and their last appearance together coming on December 20, 2014. In their second appearance on SNL, they would display their acting prowess in 2 sketches. They subsequently would perform 2 songs from their recent Midnight Memories album after the sketches. In January of 2014, Payne received significant scrutiny after posting a photo of him standing dangerously near the edge of a building on social media. He subsequently deleted the photo from his social media account, posting an apology which stated, "You may have seen a photo of me today taken on top of a building. I regret being there and having a photo taken." Payne would receive more backlash for him publicly showing support on social media for Duck Dynasty star Willie Robertson amid Willie's father Pat making publicized anti-gay remarks in an interview with GQ. Payne tweeted a tweet that read, "Huge love to you/your family. Huge respect for your business prosperities and the family values you still all behold. Big fan." Payne, as a result of the backlash, came out to defend his initial tweet against allegations of Payne being homophobic, stating in part, "Being a fan of someone's show and the way they still hold a family together doesn't mean I am okay with all they say." After the end of their 100-plus show Take Me Home tour in November 2013, the band members took time off of songwriting and performing, with Liam taking a tropical vacation with his girlfriend Sophia Smith. He began dating Smith, a friend of Payne from his secondary school days, in August of 2013. Payne posted pictures of his February 2014 vacation onto social media. The band later that same month had to dismiss rumblings that the band possibly would be splitting up after Liam had stated he did not see his bandmates in 3 months when he and his bandmates accepted the Global Success Award at the 2014 Brit Awards ceremony. In addition to winning this award, One Direction were also the recipients of the fan-voted award for Best British Video for their music video for the single Best Song Ever. Payne himself dismissed the rumors by stating that a 4th album was in the works. Rumors surrounding One Direction's inner turmoil and potential separation would be shown to be a reoccurring public gossip topic during their time together. In addition to these achievements, One Direction would take the honor of being the top global recording artist in 2013, according to assessments by the International Federation of the Phonographic Industry, or IFPI for short. They beat out other notable musical contenders such as Eminem and Justin Timberlake. The newly established honor takes into consideration the amount of music downloads, streaming and physical format sales. In 2013, Payne generated £5.6 million in revenue. This was an increase from the reported revenue generated in 2012 that went to Payne, which was an estimated £2 million for Payne. For serving as co-writers on half of the Midnight Memories album, Liam Payne and Louis Tomlinson received a higher revenue of royalties from the album as the other 3 bandmates co-wrote fewer songs on the album. Payne, revealing his mindset behind getting proactive in songwriting, stated, "I've been in the studio already. It's been going really well. Learning how to write is the best way of ensuring your career has longevity and that you have control over it." Payne would be regarded for his house remixes of One Direction and Cheryl Cole songs under the name Big Payno, or just Payno. They were declared the most richest boy band from the United Kingdom and Ireland in music history in May 2014, generating a total of $70 million between the 5 members during their tenure. Beginning in the spring of 2014, they would embark on another world tour at 65 different venues in approximately 19 nations. They would have a tour called the Where We Are Tour between August 2014 and October 2014 all across North America, beginning in Canada and ending in Miami, Florida. Before their Where We Are Tour had begun in North America, the tour had different concerts in various countries outside of North America such as South Africa, the United Kingdom, Colombia, and Italy. They would also have the Australian band 5 Seconds of Summer serve as an opening act for One Direction. Liam Payne and Louis Tomlinson would have an in-studio collaboration with the musical duo and twins Joel and Benji Madden, who are also known as members of the musical group Good Charlotte. Liam Payne would also venture out to record tracks with musician Pharrell Williams this same year. On April 11, 2014, One Direction announced the release of their new single, titled You and I. A music video for the single was released on April 18, 2014. Outside of their tour, the group would spend time watching the Wimbledon Tennis Championships in person and appearing on the long-running kids' educational puppet television program Sesame Street, where they teach viewers how to sing the alphabet. After a shirtless photo of himself began appearing online in late July 2014, Payne began receiving criticism from people on social media about his weight, with some calling Payne fat. In response, Payne stated on Instagram, "Do I have to look like an Olympic swimmer just to get your approval into the cool kids, or can I accept that the person I truly love thinks I'm the coolest kid in town anyway? Think I'll vote the second one. Enjoy your day, people." Payne then mockingly posted a photo with him wearing a t-shirt stuffed at his abdomen and his cheeks puffed out. Payne would be hospitalized briefly in September 2014 after injuring his right wrist while break-dancing at Niall Horan's 21st birthday party in Las Vegas. He would be seen publicly wearing a cast on his HP wrist after being hospitalized. Their 4th studio album, titled 4, made its commercial debut on November 17, 2014, after being announced by One Direction in September 2014. When they announced their upcoming album, they made another released single titled Fireproof free to download online. Liam and Louis were credited as co-writers on the song. One Direction released another single titled Steal My Girl on September 29, 2014, which would be a part of the upcoming album 4. Niall had self-declared that their upcoming album would be more edgy. Fellow notable musician Ed Sheeran played a part in the songwriting of one of the song's tracks, titled 18. Once again, their album debuted at the top spot on the Billboard Top 200 rankings, breaking a 58-year previously held record set in the process. In the first week of the album's release, approximately 387,000 copies of the album were sold. They were the only group to have 4 straight albums on the Billboard Top 200 chart, debut at number 1, next to solo musicians Britney Spears, DMX, and Beyoncé, who all accomplished at least 4 number 1 debuts. When discussing the group's hands-on production of the album's tracks, Liam Payne stated, "We've had more of a hand in writing this time around, and we've literally written every song." At the 2014 American Music Awards held on November 23, 2014, One Direction had been the recipients of 3 awards for their year's musical output. They won the Artist of the Year award, Favorite Band/Duo/Group award, and Favorite Pop/Rock Album award. They also made a live performance at the event. The same year, they would take home 10 awards at the Teen Choice Awards in the summer of 2014. When One Direction was asked by a reporter from The Guardian in a November 2014 interview how they could keep up the pace of musical production upon the release of their 4th album, Liam stated, "It's an often asked question. But I think we're feeling pretty good. We've just had a couple of days off, actually." Louis swiftly corrected Payne by telling the same reporter that it was a couple of weeks rather than a couple of days. Their passion was evidently the driver for the members. As Payne stated, "We feel most at home when we're sat writing, or on stage, that's our thing." Payne also stated that to get over the weight of their work, him and his bandmates like to think of their fanbase. The album also received multiple positive reviews from critics, including ones from the Rolling Stone and Time magazine. On the other end of critique, Billboard's journalist Chuck Arnold brought up the production as subpar due to their struggle with adapting from the bubblegum pop of their teens to a more mature sound. Their evolving ages and lifestyles became a growing concern for the group by outside observers, who felt that it was a certain impending challenge to continue to appeal to the targeted demographic of young girls. Another single for the album, titled Night Changes, had a music video released on the morning of November 21, 2014. The music video featured Liam and the other band members taking the viewer on 5 separate dates. The same month, it was announced that One Direction would be releasing a Christmas TV special with NBC on December 23, 2014. They appeared on The Tonight Show around this time with members of One Direction and The Roots along with Tonight Show host Jimmy Fallon. Together, they sang a rendition of the popular Christmas song titled Santa's Coming to Town. The members of One Direction all wore their own unique Christmas sweaters. The One Direction special also showed behind-the-scenes glimpses and had One Direction performing hit songs from the discography. Alternatively, they would be in the midst of prepping for a new tour called the On the Road Again Tour, which was previously announced in September 2014. It featured a run beginning in February 2015 and ending in October 2015, with touring venues in Australia, South Africa, Europe, Asia, and North America. The same month they began the global tour, they began making their 5th studio album. At the 2015 ceremony for the Brit Awards on February 25, 2015, they were given the award for Best British Video for their music video for the song You and I. The band was unable to appear in person for this event, so Simon Cowell accepted the award on their behalf. Breaking news would hit the headlines in late March 2015, when Payne's fellow One Direction member Zayn Malik quit One Direction. Malik, who dismissed himself from the On the Road Again tour due to stress, had publicly stated his rationale behind leaving the group, stating, "I am leaving because I want to be a normal 22-year-old who is able to relax and have some private time out of the spotlight." Malik soon began working on solo musical projects. The band had confirmed the departure and released their thoughts in an official statement online on Facebook. Liam would make multiple statements on Twitter after Malik's departure, reassuring the fans of the continued allegiance of him and his bandmates and that they would continue to create music. He once admitted that Malik's departure unexpectedly made the remaining 4 members grow closer to each other. In an interview with Time magazine in April of 2015, the group opened up about the recent departure of Zayn Malik, with Payne in particular stating, "It's been a tough few weeks, probably the toughest since the band was formed 5 years ago." Louis Tomlinson reassured the public in this same interview that the rest of them were going to stay together. They would make their first public appearance on the red carpet as a quartet at the 2015 Billboard Music Awards in Las Vegas on May 17, 2015. The group was interviewed about Zayn again, where Payne stated, "Obviously a difficult thing to talk about. He left for his own reasons. You gotta do what you gotta do. He's sharing the experience with us even though he's not here." Their first single that was released without Zayn was a single titled "Drag Me Down," which was released on the morning of July 31, 2015. It would reach as high as the top 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 rankings. The single would be part of the 5th album, which was revealed to be titled, Made in the AM. The album was officially announced to the public on September 22, 2015. Payne had stated that he and his bandmates wanted their upcoming album to be a lasting album that one could listen to at any time they wanted. When talking about him and his bandmates' concept for creating the song in a retrospective June 2018 interview, Payne was quoted saying, "This was about the time that the band was most turbulent, and one of our members decided he had to go. We wrote this song because we felt like we needed something to get a comeback, like, we're gonna carry on, we'll be fine." In August 2015, One Direction would publicly confirm that they would be going on a hiatus in 2016 after the release of Made in the AM in November 2015. Though they assured the public that this hiatus was merely temporary, many still possess the doubts about the future of the group. Louis Tomlinson had claimed that him and Liam would spend some of their time during their hiatus songwriting together. Their last concert for their On the Road Again tour would be held at Sheffield Arena in London, England, on October 31, 2015. They were able to finish the tour together despite Liam briefly becoming unwell around this time, and the group had to cancel and reschedule a touring venue in Belfast, Ireland. Some reports had suggested that Payne's incident was a sudden meltdown, and that he was physically unable to get on stage. Payne would conduct a solo interview with the British magazine called Attitude in September 2015. Payne would make significant mention in this interview to having an excessive negative drinking habit and hard partying lifestyle. Payne reportedly began drinking alcohol after growing homesick. In a December 2019 interview, Payne admitted that whiskey was his alcoholic drink of choice when he first started drinking. Payne talked about how his drinking caused him to pack on unwanted weight and caused him to once show up to a fan event slightly inebriated. He would reportedly significantly consume alcoholic drinks from the minibar of different hotel rooms the band would stay in while on tour. Payne credited a positive support system as a reason behind Payne gaining control of his rampant alcohol consumption. In the interview, Payne claimed that he was no longer drinking alcohol. Payne stated during this same interview that he and his girlfriend of 2 years, Sophia Smith, would consider getting married but dismissed the idea when taking into account the young ages. Payne would later break up with Smith a month after this interview. The breakup had reportedly devastated Payne. One Direction's album Made in the AM was released to the public on November 13, 2015. The album made a peak debut at number 2 on the Billboard 200 charts, though in the United Kingdom, it peaked at number 1. The band lost out on the number 1 spot on the Billboard Top 200 chart to Justin Bieber's newly released album titled Purpose. The album featured a total of 17 tracks, including another hit single from them titled Perfect, a hit song titled History, and a song that was released in September 2015 titled Infinity. Harry Styles admitted that though they had not begun recording with Malik before his departure, they had to rearrange some of the vocal positions in their tracks. At the 2015 American Music Awards held on November 22, 2015, One Direction would not only perform live but would also be the recipients of multiple awards. This would include the Top Award and the award for Favorite Pop/Rock Duo or Group. When accepting the Top Award, Liam Payne stated, "We just want to thank everyone that's helped us in the last 5 years." At the previously held BBC Radio 1 Teen Awards, One Direction took home 2 awards, one for Best British Group, and one for Best British Single for their summer-released single Drag Me Down. At the 2015 Teen Choice Awards, which was held in Los Angeles on August 16, 2015, saw the group take home a total of 8 different awards. The group was nominated against former member Zayn Malik for the Fashion Choice Male Hottie Award at the Teen Choice Awards.